All right, welcome to This Explainer. Today we're diving deep into the invisible economic mechanisms that are causing this massive, honestly frustrating disconnect between having a high salary and actually feeling financially secure. Have you ever looked at your bank account at the end of the month and just wondered how, despite making more money than you ever have in your entire life, you feel completely stretched thin? Well, you're absolutely not alone, and it is definitely not just in your head. There's a hidden financial mechanism quietly shifting the goalposts of the American dream. And look, if you don't understand how it works, you're literally losing money every single second. So let's break down exactly what's happening. Let's just validate what you're feeling right off the bat, okay? The mathematical reality of the American dream has completely broken down. Think about this. Back in 1970, a single average income easily bought a 3-bedroom suburban home, a family car, and funded 2 college tuitions. Fast forward to today. Making a 6-figure salary in a major U.S. city leaves a staggering number of Americans living completely paycheck to paycheck. The whole baseline for survival has drastically changed, and that old blueprint, it just simply doesn't work anymore. Which leads us to the ultimate mystery we're trying to solve today. The data constantly tells us that the U.S. economy is booming, right? Unemployment is low, markets are hitting record highs, you see it in the headlines literally every day. But if everything is so incredibly great on paper, why does it feel like you are secretly going broke? Where did all the money actually go? To answer that, let's peel back the first layer of this onion. Section 1, the 100K illusion and shifting the goalposts. So, for decades, earning $100,000 a year was the absolute gold standard. It meant you'd finally made it. But inflation has completely rewritten those rules. When you actually adjust for modern housing, healthcare, and education, earning $100,000 in major cities today feels closer to just $45,000 in purchasing power, compared to a couple of decades ago. Let that sink in. That 6-figure milestone has basically been cut in half in terms of what it can actually buy you in the real world. And here's where it gets wild. You are quite literally working harder and producing more, yet you're keeping drastically less of your wealth. Productivity has absolutely soared since the late 1970s. I mean, we are vastly more efficient than ever before. But median wage growth? It's just slowly crept along, remaining practically stagnant by comparison. That massive gap right there, that is the physical representation of your missing wealth. Now, compare 1990 to today, and you'll see why the math simply isn't mathing anymore. While wages have seen this really slow, crawling growth over the last few decades, the core pillars of a stable life, housing, healthcare, and college, have skyrocketed at exponential rates. It's like your income is climbing a staircase, but the cost of living took the elevator. It's this massive, structural imbalance that makes the traditional path to wealth feel a whole lot like walking up a down escalator. But it's not just macroeconomics at play here. Let's move to Section 2, the subscription trap, or the microeconomic shift. You, my friend, are caught in what economists call the subscription economy. This is an economic model brilliantly designed to drain your bank account through a literal death by 1,000 monthly cuts. By converting everything into a perpetual monthly payment, from basic software you use for work to that streaming service you honestly never even watch, corporations ensure completely predictable revenue for themselves, all while keeping your net worth pinned at exactly zero. Corporations just do not want you to buy things outright anymore. We are watching the end of ownership in real time. Just think about it. You used to buy a piece of software on a disk. Now you rent it monthly. You used to buy a car outright. Now manufacturers are literally locking basic built-in car features behind digital paywalls. No way, right? And the biggest one of the whole shebang? Even the housing market is shifting heavily toward corporate-owned builds-to-rent communities. Their ultimate goal is to make sure you own absolutely nothing. And all of that leads to this really stark realization. You no longer accumulate assets, you just accumulate bills. If you feel like your bank account is a leaky bucket with drops labeled subscriptions, fees, and financing, well, you're right. But here is the most important takeaway. This is not a personal failure on your part. It is a structural trap, ensuring that large corporations get richer, while you just pile on predictable, endless monthly expenses. Next, we need to uncover the invisible forces working against you. Section 3, the stealth tax, dealing with lifestyle creep and shrinkflation. Okay, here's the exact mechanism of this stealth tax, and I'm telling you, it's the most insidious tax of them all. It's a silent 1-2 punch. Step 1, when you finally earn a raise at work, what actually happens? Uncle Sam takes a larger cut because tax brackets rarely adjust fast enough for real-world inflation. You move up a bracket, but your actual purchasing power hasn't changed one bit. Step 2. The money you do have left over goes toward goods that are shrinking in physical size, but mysteriously growing in price. So you're taxed more on the front end, and you get way less value on the back end. And to make matters even worse, there is a massive disconnect in how inflation is actually reported. The official Consumer Price Index might try to tell you inflation is hovering around a totally manageable 3% or 4%. But go check your actual insurance premiums, your property taxes, or your utility bills. The real-world inflation rate on the very necessities you literally need to survive is radically higher than the official numbers let on. Again, you aren't managing your money poorly, you are fighting a system that actively devalues the currency you're trying so hard to save. So, how do we pivot your mindset and actually beat this thing? That brings us to Section 4, the accumulation solution. Changing the game. You have to stop playing their game. You need to opt out of the subscription trap wherever you possibly can. We need to shift your identity from being a consumer to an accumulator. What does that mean? It means focusing all your energy on acquiring income-producing assets rather than just holding on to depreciating cash that's constantly getting eaten away by those stealth taxes we just discussed. Basically, stop renting your lifestyle and start owning it. I really want to burn this concept into your mind. The gap between the middle class and the wealthy isn't just about how much you make. It's entirely about what you own. The true difference in long-term financial security isn't achieving that six-figure income illusion we talked about at the very beginning. It's ownership. Ownership is, quite frankly, your only shield against a system that's designed from the ground up to make you a perpetual renter. So now that you clearly see the invisible mechanisms designed to keep you broke, the real question becomes, what are you going to do about it? Are you ready to learn the exact frameworks the top 1% use right now to shelter their wealth from this exact crisis and build an unbreakable portfolio? Because identifying the problem, well, that's just step 1. The real work and the real wealth comes from taking action. So what is your next step to start acquiring assets and finally close this loop? Think about it. Keep learning, keep questioning, and start accumulating.